How's it going, ladies and gents? It's Jeff with I Download Blogs. Let's talk Jailbreak. This is episode number 18. I have my co-host Cody Lee on the line. What's up, Cody?
Not much, Jeff. What's up with you?
Not much. Just trying to get caught back up on some things. I've been out a little bit. I know you've been out as well, so we're both basically getting caught back up together.
Right.
Well, that makes sense. So, yeah, you recently went on vacation. When'd you come back?
Well, I was supposed to come back Saturday night, but I didn't end up coming back until Sunday. I was actually midair when, I don't know if you've heard about this, but an airplane crashed into the San Francisco airport while trying to land. And
that's crazy.
We were midair actually going to land at that airport. And so,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So we had to about face. They turned us around. We were in the air probably for 2 hours. They landed us back in Las Vegas. And let's just say we sat around the airport and did whatever for, I think it was like 18 hours, something like that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was.
So they just wouldn't let anybody, because they thought it was like an attack or?
Well, no, I mean, we're talking this huge, what was it, a 747 or 777 airline was just destroyed, and they had to have people come out and investigate. I mean, I think there was even a few fatalities, so a lot had to be done to where they completely shut down SFO for...
Oh, they completely shut it down.
Yeah,
okay.
For several hours, and even San Diego, or wherever the airports are near that area, they were all flooded with the excess traffic, and so they just kind of kept us in Las Vegas for a long time.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, man, that had far-reaching, I mean, besides the actual impact it had to people on the plane and their families, but it also affected others as well.
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate situation, but you are safe and sound.
Exactly. That's very relieved.
You're back home. You're back home now, and you're in Oregon, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. What part?
Salem, the capital. We're just about 30 minutes south of Portland.
Awesome. A lot to do there?
We're pretty close to the beach and stuff like that. So, yeah, there actually is quite a bit to do here.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we don't, obviously this is your second time being on the show. We just kind of want to get a little, I guess, background on you as far as jailbreaking is concerned.
Sure.
So I thought I would just ask you, like, what are your top jailbreak tweaks? Everyone knows what I like. Everyone knows what Sebastian likes. They know we're picky and stuff like that. But what about you? For instance, what are your top 5 jailbreak tweaks? Maybe you can just take them one by one.
Ooh, top 5 jailbreak tweaks. That's kind of tough, and I feel like I'm kind of boring as far as that aspect goes. I don't use, Spring.
But you are jailbroken, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I stay jailbroken on my daily driver, my iPhone 5, for reporting purposes, and just because the few tweaks I do use, I really like and haven't found a way to live without yet.
Oh, okay.
So
you're running iOS 6.1.2.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on my iPhone 5. And so here are the only tweaks actually I have installed right now. And they're usually the ones that I install right away after I do a restore or do a fresh jailbreak. It goes, no news is good news. And that, of course, is Ryan Petrick's tweak that takes care of the newsstand app. I don't ever use the newsstand app. And so I usually try to get rid of it right away just to kind of clean up my home screen. I know there's other tweaks that do this. I know Spring Surmise, I think, does this, but it's simple. It does one thing, and it's made by Ryan Petrick, so you know it's going to be stable, and you know it's going to, work correctly. So I like it. My second tweak would have to be Browser Chooser, which is also made by Ryan Petrick. It allows you to set a browser other than Safari as your default browser.
And I'm going to guess you're using Chrome.
Yes.
Okay.
I recently converted, well, I wouldn't say recently, I've been doing it for several months now, but I like Chrome a lot better. I use it on my Mac, and I use it on my iPad, and I use it on my iPhone, obviously, and I think that the tab sync works better. I like how you can view recently closed tabs. I mean, just all around, I feel like it's better than Safari.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast debate, but that's probably my biggest struggle, like debating which browser to use. I switched from Safari to Chrome probably every month. It's just back and forth.
Yeah, I also used to switch quite frequently. I've been on Chrome for quite a while now, but yeah, when Safari got, the reader list or whatever in iOS 5, I started using that. But like I said, I just think Chrome's, Google has sync down better, I believe. They have cloud services down better than Apple. And I think that
Oh, no,
shows big time in Chrome.
no question about that. Now, one thing that really made me start using Safari more is they finally got the Omni bar.
Right, like that.
That was my absolute main beef with Safari at one time. Now that they have that, I can make it my daily driver.
Yeah. I still like Chrome, but I'm anxious to see what Safari does in iOS 7 when the final version's released this fall.
Oh, I'm actually thinking about the desktop version. But yeah, you're talking about
Mobile.
talking about iOS. Yeah, but yeah, on both spaces, I think it's a debate that continues to go on. I'm hoping that. Do you think Apple will ever? I know we're kind of getting off track here.
That's
Do
okay.
you think Apple will ever allow us to choose our own browser?
I don't.
You,
I don't. I think they'll let us continue to install them from the App Store, but I don't think they'll ever let us make it default on mobile, anyways.
right.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I love Browser Chooser for that reason. I immediately download it and I set Chrome to my default. I log into my Chrome with my, Gmail passcodes or whatever, and everything just syncs up magically. I love it.
Now, and that I'm sorry. That brings up another thing though. Like one of the reasons that I kind of I don't know, like the whole browser thing, passwords are one of my main issues with any of the browsers in iOS
Okay.
because like on your desktop, don't you use like 1Password or something?
I don't. I own versions of 1Password for every platform, but I don't currently use it. I haven't figured out a way to work it into my daily workflow, I guess you could say.
So how do you remember your passwords?
Well, for the most part, and this is another thing I love about Chrome, for the most part, Chrome inserts them for me. They will literally, to all the websites I visit frequently, it'll literally populate my username and my password. And all I have to do is click sign in.
Right. Okay.
Does it not work like that for you?
I mean, I guess it could if I opted to have like Google store my passwords and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
worried about security. I got you.
Well, that's one part of the issue, but it doesn't seem like it works all the time. Like, and not only that, like, I don't know. It's a whole nother.
We've obviously opened up a can of worms for Jeff here.
Yeah, definitely. But one of the things that I like about iOS 7 is the Safari keychain.
Yeah. And like I said,
iCloud keychain.
Yeah, like I said, in the fall when Maverick hits and iOS 7 hits, I'll be happy to give that setup a try again. But for me, any browser that I use on my desktop, I have to use the same one on my, my mobile devices just to keep everything in sync. And
yeah,
so we'll try that out. We'll revisit that in the fall.
Okay. What's your next tweak there?
My next tweak is Reader. READR. And what it lets you do is it lets you basically turn any hyperlink pretty much in any spot in iOS, add it to your read it later service like Pocket. Like for me, I use Pocket. So like let's say you were to send me a link and say, hey Cody, this is pretty interesting. Check out this article. Well, I would just hold my finger down on it and a share menu would pop up with the ability to add that article to Pocket. So I could read it later in that app.
That's pretty handy.
It is actually, and it's huge for me because I'll do that in web browsers. Like it'll even work in Chrome. And if I see something, I don't have to copy it and then go into the Pocket app. And it's just very convenient for me. And with as much as I use Pocket, it's a must-have.
So Pocket's something that you use on a daily basis.
Oh yeah. That's what I save. If I see an interesting article on another site that I want to touch on IDB, I'll save it to Pocket and then I'll have it to reference later on.
Awesome. So that's part of your daily workflow.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So
all right.
Yeah, that's my third favorite. That's my third tweak, in my top 5. My fourth is going to be swipe selection.
Okay.
Now I know you like swipe selection. I've seen it in a couple of your top, 10 lists or whatever, but I think it's a must have. I'm honestly surprised that Apple hasn't bitten, what is it called? Sherlocked. I'm surprised Apple hasn't Sherlocked this feature yet in iOS.
It is so handy.
Yeah. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, swipe selection is just this easy, simple tweak that lets you you swipe back across your keyboard and it'll actually highlight text and it'll move your cursor around. It just makes it really easy to edit text when you're, I guess, typing longer articles.
Yeah. Or even just URLs, like just inserting, the little magnifying glass that comes up when you tap and hold on text.
Right.
You try to get your cursor in just the right spot. Well, this makes it so much easier to do that. Now, there's one feature that I wish swipe selection had that it doesn't have. Can you guess what that is?
No, I'm drawing a blank right now.
The ability to like skip lines.
Oh, okay.
You know, because how many times have we tried to, or have you used swipe selection where what you want to edit is like 4 lines down and you just have to keep swiping and swiping and swiping and swiping until you get to that 4th line? Well, it'd be nice if you can just swipe down on the keyboard and move your cursor that way.
Okay,
I
yeah, or
think that would be
swipe up
pretty.
even if you're in the middle of a body of text and you want to go up. Yeah,
That would be sweet.
that's something I
Yeah.
probably try to do all the time and it just doesn't work by default.
Yeah, I do it too. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully that'll be updated with some kind of feature like that. So we have your top 4. What is your 5th one?
My 5th one is NC settings.
Okay.
That's the tweak that obviously in your notification center adds the quick access settings toggles like Bluetooth on and off, Wi-Fi on and off, different things like that. I actually read one of your posts where you were talking about NC settings and you said you chose it over SB settings because it looks better and it's easier to use, and I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's much better looking. It looks more native, I think, like it belongs there, and I think it's easier to use. I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Just cleaner.
Yeah.
It's not so many features. Like SB settings it's the classic case of something trying to do way too much.
Right.
It tries to be everything, but
Or function, a good example of function before design.
right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because both are good options, and I think there's several other options out there that add settings toggles like your lock screen and stuff. But NC settings has just kind of been my go-to. Um, I really like actually. I mean, I know we'll touch on this later, but I like, what is it, ayra, this new tweak by Shernix and the guy who made Velox. I like what that looks like, but we'll touch on that in a minute.
Yeah, that's a nice looking upcoming tweak.
It does a
like you said.
it does a similar function to NC settings.
Right. So I think that's a pretty decent top 5. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that's like glaring.
Huge
missing
omissions. Activators in there because I know.
Yeah,
like,
but that's just like, I mean, that goes without saying.
right.
You know.
And it's not something I use every day, honestly. Like I use these. These are always the 5 that I install right away on a new device.
Right. Let me just go and check my daily driver and see what I have. Go to Cydia, manage packages. Action menu is something I still use. If not just for the history alone.
Right.
I use that all the time. OXO obviously is there. Clean status, I use that.
You use OXO on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, that's on my that's been on my phone since it released.
You know,
my daily driver.
I had it on mine for a long time after it released, and I just couldn't justify keeping it around. I would get errors, and I don't know. It just, between the
That's
bugs.
interesting.
And,
I've never had any kind of crashes or any errors
really?
whatsoever.
I know
Never.
Sebastian wrote a whole post on why he deleted OXO, and I think that was one of his main concerns, was the different bugs he was seeing. And I saw them on my device too and got rid of it.
I don't think he said it was bugs so much as that he didn't like the fact that he couldn't tell which app was in the app switcher quick enough.
That may be it.
Yeah. So,
and that's improved on the iPad version. I know the iPad version came out not too long ago, and you can actually see the apps. But
yeah, I think it's a great tweak, and I just love the context you get. You can really see what's going to be there when you open your app for the most part.
Yeah.
Even if you can't read what's there, just to have a overall context is nice. What else do I have here? I have Flux. I still use that. I know people laugh about that. iFile, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have that on your device.
Well,
that goes without saying.
It's not on my current device, but anytime, especially if I'm going to be testing out a lot of tweaks, I always throw iFile on there because it helps you edit stuff kind of on the fly.
Yeah. Open Other is another tweak I have installed. It's Password Pilot. Now, see, that's something that I cannot. If I have the ability to jailbreak, I must have Password Pilot.
Okay, and that's where it automatically inserts your App Store password for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so handy.
I might actually look into that, because before, for the longest time, I had this short little password for my iTunes account, but ever since I switched to, two-step authentication, Apple makes you change your password to like a 10-character long, something ridiculous. So that might actually be something I'm interested in now.
Yeah, definitely. And what about Zephyr? You don't use Zephyr?
No, and that's another one that I kind of bounce. I bounce around between some of the bigger tweaks just if I feel like trying to make a new setup. I'll bounce around between Velox and Oxo and Zephyr, but for the most part, I'm pretty minimal. So I keep just what I just mentioned to you.
Yeah. Another thing that I feel is a must have is, and I know a lot of people won't agree, but XBMC, having, XBMC on your device is so handy. You can watch live TV. I need to do a post on that, really, how to get live, like the four main channels like Fox, ABC,
NBC, CBS,
CBS.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get live TV like right on your device anywhere.
You do need
It's
to
so
you
awesome.
do need to make a post on that. I don't think a whole lot of people know. Now I know you can do that on the Apple TV, but I don't think I've ever messed with it on my phone.
Yeah, it's same concept,
Okay.
same exact thing. Live television. Not only that, I mean that's just one of the things you can do. I've been really messing since I've kind of been under the weather lately. I've been kind of in the living room, laying on the couch, and I recently jailbroke my Apple TV on the latest firmware.
Okay.
I was running it on some really old firmware, but it was an untethered jailbreak. This is a tethered jailbreak, but it doesn't really matter on the Apple
No,
TV.
it doesn't since
You
it's
know?
always plugged in.
Yeah. So I recently updated that, and it's really cool. Apple TV is so underrated. I mean,
It
it's crazy.
we and I don't know if it was the beginning of this year, beginning of last year, but we talked a lot about the different things you could do with the jailbroken Apple TV. But what with there not being a jailbreak available for the Apple TV 3, I think it
It's really
really, yeah,
disappointing.
I think it kind of fades to the background or gets forgotten, kind of flies under the
Yeah,
radar.
and that's the thing. Like, I was I have a 3 and a 2, and I had the 3 hooked up for the longest, but I recently unplugged the 3 and it's just collecting dust now, and I'm just using my 2. Even with the lack of 1080p, I mean, having a jailbroken Apple TV opens up so many different things you can do. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'd
So,
agree with that. Mine's not jailbroken at the moment, but I do it every few months, and yeah, it can do a lot
cable
more.
cutter's dream.
Yes, I
A cable cutter's
I
dream.
agree with that.
$99 for this. You know how much Apple TV 2s are going online now?
Yeah, for like 200 or 300 bucks, aren't they?
Yeah, let me check that. Last time I checked, let me see.
I know it was like 280 on Amazon at one point.
Yeah, because obviously it's 374.
Wow. Is that for brand new or
Three
is that used?
that's brand new.
Okay.
$374.
Right.
Used, the cheapest I'm seeing here is 189. So that's not too bad. I
No.
mean, it's definitely worth $200.
I think that's interesting to me that literally its jailbreakability, if that's a word, has a huge bearing on its value. That's crazy to me.
Well, I guess it depends on like what you do, because you can do some pretty unethical things with the Apple TV as well. Like you can, if you can pirate stuff too. Like you can, there's stuff out there that I won't mention obviously, but that you can like watch movies on the fly,
Okay.
no downloads required, new releases, stuff like that. So that probably has something to do with it.
Sure.
But even just without that, I think the Apple TV jailbroken is awesome. The ability to be able to stream no issue stuff from my desktop, and the ability to use a web browser. I just love it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome.
Well, like you were
It's
saying,
awesome.
XBMC, I mean, if you really are a cable cutter and you don't want to pay for cable anymore, you get your live local channels through
Right.
XBMC and you can stream probably an unlimited amount of different file formats, video formats from
Right.
your desktop.
Exactly. Yeah, and these channels, I really do have to do a post on this. And they're not actually local per se, but they're in from a specific TV market.
Oh,
But
okay.
you still get them. You
So you
know, I
still
mean,
get their shows, their programming.
right? You still get all the CBS programming, the
Like
NBC, and it's great because
if I love NCIS, I can get NCIS.
exactly, and that's awesome because no one, most, I don't know, me personally, my TV's mounted on my wall. I don't really, the way I have it set up, I don't have access to rabbit ears or anything like that.
Okay.
So I couldn't even get OTA, over the air, you know, TV, terrestrial TV, I guess you could say,
Right.
HD TV. So this helps out a lot with that. One thing I wish that the Apple TV had was Spotify access. I don't understand that. Like, where is the Spotify app?
Yeah, I'm surprised that we don't see one for that, or there's not one for RDO either.
Yeah, no, not.
Maybe we'll see that in the coming months.
No Pandora?
No, I don't.
Well, I guess the thing you're seeing really is iTunes
Radio.
radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably why you'll never see Spotify.
Well, you never know though, because they just opened it up to HBO Go and ESPN, Watch ESPN, and they're in talks supposedly with Time Warner programming. So maybe
Yeah.
Apple's getting a little looser with its restrictions on
You
Apple
know,
TV
and that
apps.
brings up a whole nother topic, and I don't really want to divert this too much, but
Right.
I have to talk about this because I recently called up Time Warner.
Sure.
I don't subscribe to cable television. All I have is my internet, their so-called turbo internet, which is pathetic.
Right.
And I called. First of all, let me start from the beginning. I install the update to the Apple TV and I get watch ESPN on there, and that's awesome
Right.
to be able to watch all the live ESPN channels. Obviously, I went to try it out. It said you need to verify your account with Time Warner. I did that. I verified, and then I got a message saying like you must be a subscriber to cable television for it, which is obviously what was going to happen since I don't actually subscribe. So I call up Time Warner and I'm asking them, like, what's the cheapest package that I can get to have ESPN so I can use the Watch ESPN app? I don't even want the box. Don't even send me your stupid box out. Just get me subscribed to ESPN so I can use this. And they put me on hold for like an hour and get the run around. It basically comes out that there's no way to there's the cheapest pack is just like $120.
Wow, really?
I just want. I know they don't do a la carte
Program.
channels and stuff like that, but
You would have thought there was something smaller with ESPN in it for $30 or $40 a month kind of deal.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just really frustrating.
And a good example of how I don't know how to explain this, how sketchy or how sticky the cable industry is and why we're not seeing more progress on Apple's front in programming.
Yeah. So I don't know. This whole Time Warner thing, I am interested in that, but
not for $120 a month.
Yeah, if nothing else though, I'm interested in it because I don't have to have that stupid box that is I hate those boxes.
Right.
They're the worst design interfaces of all time. I don't think there's any worse design on an interface, modern interface, supposedly, than a cable.
Yeah.
What do you use for cable?
I use Xfinity, Comcast brand.
Now, are they pretty decent as far as their interface?
Honestly, it's not much different than what I've had before. I've had Time Warner. I don't think there's been any huge breakthroughs in the UI of these digital set-top boxes. Now, I've used Verizon's Fios, and that to me is there's a noticeable difference in speed and usability, but as far as most of it goes, no, there hasn't been any huge breakthroughs in the last 10 years.
What about AT&T Uverse?
I think that's real similar to Fios. It's actually what my mom uses in Texas, and it's I mean it's decent, but it's not. I don't know. Man. It's bad. You're right. There hasn't been any huge breakthroughs in the last 10 years.
That is the absolute worst. I mean, it's been literally like this for the past 15 years.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many people are anxious for Apple to get into that market.
Oh man, it's terrible. It really is. I mean, same interface with minimal updates for going on 20 years. It's pathetic. Cable industry should be ashamed. But I know I've kind of ranted and raved about this. Let's talk about some jailbreak tweaks right now. First of all, we have ScreenFade.
Okay.
You try that out?
Yes, I did actually. Upon seeing your post, I decided to give it a whirl, and it just honestly I couldn't tell that it was doing anything. it's this. Okay, so if people who haven't seen it yet, it's essentially this effect that it gives your phone when you when you bring it awake, right?
Right.
When you bring it back awake from being asleep, it's supposed to fade in. And honestly, I really couldn't tell that it was there.
Yeah, it's extremely subtle.
Yeah, very subtle,
Um,
very minimal effect that I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. It's in beta
yeah,
though, isn't it? From Hashbang Productions.
yeah, it's on their beta repo. You can find the post on IDB for more information on how to get that. Now, I will say that iOS 7 kind of introduced this screen fade
Right.
effect, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's what they're trying to do is just mimic the way iOS 7 works as far as the screen fade. So basically, it's just like Cody said, a subtle fade in or fade out whenever you put your device to sleep or wake it up.
Now I had a problem. I know it's in beta, so it's dumb to talk about issues, but I had this problem where it wouldn't work when you touched your power button.
Yeah,
It,
well, and that's documented in the
oh, is it?
in the
Okay.
description. Yeah, the screen fade only works using the home button when you turn the device on.
Okay. Yeah, I just
So
it wouldn't work for me. So I guess it is noticeable if I could notice that it wasn't working when I hit
yeah,
the power
that's
button.
that's a good sign actually
Yeah.
that you noticed that. Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean,
So
it's free, so if you want to check it out, I guess check it out. But I don't think it's
yeah,
worth looking at.
yeah, okay, yeah, screen fade, Hashbang Productions. I actually like it.
Do you really?
I don't think it's too bad.
I think okay, so it's cool that it's free, and I guess if you're looking for something like that, it's definitely worth checking out. But
It's definitely worth checking out if you're one of those people who likes to try to mimic iOS 7 or the upcoming iOS using jailbreak tweaks.
okay,
Because
yeah, that's
there's a
fair.
lot of tweaks out there, and this is something you'll need if you really want to try to emulate iOS 7.
There you go. That's fair.
Yeah. So what else? I think the next one is LiveWire Pro.
LiveWire Pro, yeah, and this is the one that I remember trying. There's a free version of this, correct?
Yes,
And this gives you the different animations when unlocking your device.
exactly.
Yeah,
Seven different animations plus a random animation.
yeah. I remember trying the free version of this, and this is another one of those that if you're in the market for something like this, it's pretty cool to play around with, especially this pro version that has what 7 or 8 different animations to choose from.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I don't know. Kind of ho hum about the whole thing. I mean, we've seen it before. The same
Right.
type of.
There's
It's not like these animations or anything groundbreaking.
right.
I like a couple of them. The first two, elevator, vault, but the rest of them are kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think what you said was something to the effect of it's not a bad purchase, but there's a lot of stuff out there that does the exact same thing for I think less money. So it's worth
Yeah.
checking, seeing what else is out there before you dive into this one.
Yeah, and I honestly speaking, I mean, I think the free version it includes. I think it's the elevator animation. I think that's the best animation,
Yeah.
and they and they included that one with the free version. So if you want to try it out, then obviously check the video out, but try the free version of LiveWire. I think that'll probably suit you.
Yeah. I'd agree with that that's the best animation offered.
But anyway, it's 99 cents on CD's Big Boss Repo. LiveWire Pro.
What do we have next here? Oh, VeloxTube. Okay, so this is
Now, that's just something I wanted to ask you, Cody. Is it Velox or Velox? Because I say Velox.
Velox. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the different our
I
dialects.
actually like the way you say it better.
Velox. I don't.
Sounds more prestigious.
Okay, so we'll go with. You want to go with Velox?
Let's go with Velox.
Okay. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe tell us if it's wrong.
Okay.
But anyways, VeloxTube for Velox. Well, now I feel weird saying it. Anyways, this tweak basically adds a YouTube search page and the whole 9 yards of what you can do on YouTube. It adds it to a little Velox folder.
Yeah.
What did you think? There's not much to say here, I don't think. But what did you think of the tweak?
Super unimpressed. Super unimpressed. Because
Unimpressed
this
with
is
the
based.
tweak itself, or just Velox in general? Because I could talk about the latter.
The tweak itself, Velox itself, and I don't really want to go into this again for like the fifth time, but the tweak itself, because the problem with Velox is that it's not the tweak that's bad. It's the fact that the developers making the add-ons aren't being innovative enough. Like this is nothing more than just the YouTube app in a different view, like a different folder, like the enhanced folder. It's basically just a YouTube app in a frame. It's like, why do that? Why not add different features or different stuff to this instead of just making it? I mean, it's really lazy in my opinion.
Okay.
And again, I'm not an iOS developer, so I can't knock what someone does because obviously it's impressive that you can do anything on iOS. But if you're going to, make a tweak, why not make something innovative?
I see your point, and I guess here's what I have to add to that. I agree with you. Velox says itself. I don't think developers have realized its full potential yet by a long shot. It seems like all we're getting are what you call it, framed views of wraparound views of other apps or the web or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like VeloxTube for what it is. I like the fact that you can pull up a YouTube video without actually launching the app itself. For some reason, for me anyways, the app sometimes can take a bit to load, and I think it's quicker to be able to do this from a Velox folder, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe about a few seconds. Yeah, it's a little quicker.
Yeah, so that part, from that aspect, I think it's cool, but I totally agree with you. Velox's developers have not realized the full potential. It's kind of, we all had these huge high hopes for it, and I think we've all been kind of let down at this point.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most disappointing jailbreak tweaks, not from a development standpoint for itself. Like Velox itself isn't disappointing, but the results
Right.
of the community's response, I guess you could say, is probably one of the more disappointing things that I've seen. Because you have other tweaks that developers really jump on, and they support and they make great add-ons for it, and
Like
things
like Activator and
yeah.
Zephyr. A lot of people integrate that with their tweaks, like Oxo and things like that. So yeah, I uh, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if maybe developers are limited by what they can do with these Velox folders, or maybe they're just not thinking outside the box. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's not to knock
No,
anyone,
not at
but
all. It's just our we were hoping for, maybe our imagination was bigger than the
I've been told that numerous times before, so it wouldn't surprise me. Now we have a couple of tweak previews from the past week. One is Ayra.
right, which we were talking about a little bit ago. This one's by Shernix, the guy who did the icon themes. And how do you say this developer's name? Benzish?
I say just Ben SGE.
Ben SG. Okay, that works for me.
Does that
But
work? I don't
he
know.
develops Man, Jeff, you got me. He develops Velox.
Okay, so we're going back to Velox now.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, but he authored Velox, and he's a good developer, man. He's a solid developer.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shernix is a great designer. Perfect combination there.
Yeah.
What did you think about Ayra?
I mean, from what you've seen, or not from what you've seen, from what you showed us in the preview, I like it a lot. I think Shernix is very talented, and he kind of goes for that minimal look, which I love in every aspect of iOS. So I love to see what he comes up with, and this one looks like another good one. I like.
Yeah.
You couldn't talk much about it. You said you couldn't really show off some of its features, but I saw the toggles in the notification center, and I think the transparent slider looks pretty cool. So
It does. And the really big thing with this is that you can access your toggles, and this tweak includes its own set of toggles. You can access this from the lock screen like you can on iOS 7. This is obviously iOS 6 tweak, but it gives you that iOS 7 type functionality accessing notification center from the lock screen, among other things. There are other features involved here as well.
yeah, I like the way the toggles look. I think, aren't they like little spheres or orbs? Yeah, I think that looks sharp.
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger than your NC settings toggles.
You know what I'd like to see, because one of its features that you were able to show was that when you tap on a notification, you can either remove it or open the app. What I'd like to see there is an option to quick reply. That would be
sweet.
Yeah, that would be huge for me. I don't know, just being able to quick reply to different messages from your lock screen. I'd like to see them add that in the future.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
If you're taking requests, guys.
Taking requests, yeah. I'm sure they're listening in, and you can tell that developers, like Shernix and others, Ben SGE. Sorry if I'm messing up your name. Sorry, dude. Brian Petrick,
right?
Nuar or Sentry. These guys listen to suggestions from their users. So That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons they're so popular as well.
Right.
Is because they actually take into account what we people want. So that I think that's cool.
Yeah, I do too.
Listening to your user base.
But I mean, as far as what did you think of Ayra? What is your take on it?
I liked it. I think it looks really good when you pair it with Atom, which is Shurnix's lock screen launcher.
Yes.
So those two running together look really good. You'll see more come July 13th.
Yeah, is that this week or is that? Yeah, that's this week.
I think it's Saturday. Is it Saturday or? Yeah, it's Saturday.
Okay, cool. So it's not too far off. I'm anxious to try this one out.
Yeah. It's Ayra. It'll be available on the Big Boss repo.
Do you know price?
I think so. Let me check real quick.
Are you allowed to say the price?
Yeah, I think it's going to be $1.29.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a weird price.
It is a weird price, but I was just gonna say I'd pay between $1 and $2 for something like this. When it's well designed, I have no problem forking over the money.
Design goes a long way. Goes a real long way. Now our final preview tweak is a StatusHUD, a StatusHUD.
Right.
And that's from Alan Yip. He's one of my favorite developers.
He does a lot of stuff, doesn't he? I think he did, what is it, tap to widgets?
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
A review. Yeah. Dude's solid. He's a solid developer. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, sure. Well, once again, I just have your video to go off of and some of the other stuff I've read about it, but it looks like it's going to, when that HUD, what is it, heads-up display, when that pops up, that little square with the speaker in it when you're adjusting your volume, you know how that pops up? Well, this tweak will embed, I guess, the volume meter into your status bar. Does that make sense?
Perfect description.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess. That takes away the HUD from what I've seen. So you don't get that, you just get a little volume meter in your status bar, which I think is actually makes it look cleaner.
A lot cleaner.
Yeah. What did you think?
I love this tweak, man. It's a really nice one. And like Cody said, perfect description. It takes your volume meters from the heads-up display that normally pops up when you're adjusting your volume, removes that whole heads-up display and places the volume meter in your status bar. It fades in and fades out really elegantly. And you can adjust your volume. You see your volume increase or decrease right there in the status bar. Great tweak. That'll be out soon as well.
Now, you said that there was going to be some other options or maybe some settings you can customize with this as well?
Yeah, there is a preference panel in there to adjust some additional options, and we'll have that for you once the tweak goes live. Perfect. I'll just spoil it for you. There's an option in there that allows you to change the way the volume bar looks.
Oh, okay.
In the status bar.
Well, I mean, I think it looks good as is, but I'd be interested to play around with some different options.
Yeah. So I think it's a solid tweak. Going to be 99 cents on Cydia. It probably will be available today or tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
So look for that. It is called StatusHUD or StatusHUD.
I like it.
Me too. So that's all of our jailbreak tweaks for the week. We had one last little topic here. You want to talk about this open jailbreak?
Okay. Well, honestly, I don't get it's bad to say, but it's really tough to understand, I guess, with the little information we have so far, what it's going to be. But I can say that last week we touched on this a little bit. Posic Ninja is heading up this team of developers and designer Shurnix, and they are creating or have created this website called Open Jailbreak, where it's essentially just an open source repository for people to, I guess, share notes, share their work as far as working towards the jailbreak. If you have exploits or if you have patches or just different aspects of the jailbreak, they can share and compare notes on what they've been working on this site. It's kind of like, if you've ever seen GitHub, it looks to me a lot like GitHub. The site went live earlier today. We did a post on it on IDB, and we've had the readers tell us that it's down or they haven't been able to access it, but I was able to get onto it, and like I said, it just looks like a real basic GitHub page. It's not going to be something that you're going to be impressed with if you're not a developer, but the promise, the potential, I guess, it holds of everybody kind of working together, I think is still there.
Right.
What I don't get, well, maybe I do. But a concern that a lot of our readers have shared with us is if this thing's open source and anybody can view it, what's to stop Apple from being like, oh, they've got this exploit, let's patch it real quick in the next update?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like,
Well, to me, it almost looks like there's going to be logins or there's going to be some kind of barrier to access like that. I don't know necessarily that anybody can just start pulling work. But like I said, most of the stuff is over my head. I've clicked on a few things, and that's that's about it. I don't really understand most of it, but I think there's a barrier of entry where Apple's not going to be able to just come in and do that kind of deal.
and unfortunately, this it looks like the site is down now. I haven't actually seen it myself because I didn't check it out in time. It looks like it may be down now. I don't know if it's just so many users on or what's going on, but it hopefully it will be up. What's the URL again?
It's I believe it's openjailbreak.org. O-R-G.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm definitely hitting the right URL, but it's just
What is it saying? Just
not, it's just hanging.
oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing. No error, no nothing.
It could have been taken offline by getting so much attention this morning. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
Right, but that project just in effect, it's part of something that POSIX Ninja has been talking about for a few months now. That he said he has all these exploits for a future jailbreak. He has something bigger than a jailbreak he's working on. So I mean, we'll keep an eye on. A lot of people are skeptical, but we're definitely keeping an eye on him and his progress because he's obviously a talented hacker. That I mean could follow through on some of these claims. So we're just kind of keeping our ear out on this one.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody. I guess one last little tidbit is iOS 7 Beta 3 was released yesterday.
Yeah.
Along with the third developer preview of OS 10 Mavericks. Yeah.
Have you?
I've tried both of them.
Okay, so you're playing with the new Mavericks. Is there anything worth noting?
Honestly, I haven't really delved too deep into it, but there's nothing on the surface that I noticed that was like a major change.
That's kind of how I feel the Beta 3 preview has been. Now, there's been a lot of small UI tweaks, subtle UI tweaks here and there. Different fonts have been made bold and things have been moved around, but other than that,
I like that new animation for the installed apps though. That's pretty sweet.
That is cool. And I like the thicker text in the Messages app. I think it makes it easier to read that stuff. But no huge features, like the Beta 2 added a ton of new stuff. Updated Siri voices, different things in the Messages app. It just added a ton of new stuff. And this one just seemed more about like tightening up the UI a little bit.
Yeah, even Beta 2 added a whole new app.
Oh, the voice recorder. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think so too. It's just more of a getting the reins on things, getting ready for release.
Right. Which oddly enough is still, what is it? It's July. So it's still 2 or 3 months away. So we still could see some huge stuff over the next, I mean, now they're on pace to release a new beta every 2 weeks. So that means we should see.
I think we will see some major, or at least one more major feature, I would think, but who knows?
It's fun. It's fun to download those and check out and see what Apple's done over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, I don't know, what do you think about this? But I was thinking about doing like a series on Mavericks. Because we kind of haven't really done much with Mavericks. How we talked about the various iOS 7 features. Right. What do you think about that?
That is interesting. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I like the stuff that Mavericks is doing with Safari, the new iCloud keychain. It even has quick reply, the feature that people have been screaming for on iOS. It has quick reply, doesn't it? For messages and things like that. So I think that'd be cool. I'd love to read about it. I don't have Mavericks installed. I have one main Mac machine. It's a MacBook Pro, and I have not installed Mavericks on it. But I would be willing to try it out. I mean, is it pretty stable?
I would definitely not meet your daily.
No, huh?
This third one though is a lot. I think it's obviously the most stable yet, but it's pretty solid. What I've done. You can go about it 2 ways. You can use either Parallels and boot it from Parallels, so you don't have to worry about messing up your daily driver.
Right.
Or you can just add another. Yeah. Do you have 2 partitions?
I don't, but I could.
Super easy.
I could split the hard drive up a little bit and.
Yeah, 50 gigs rather. That's all you need. And that's what I've done. So I actually have 2 installations, one on Parallels if I need to quickly get to something real quick for reference,
Right.
or I have the second partition, which is running DP3 as well. And I can, play with that and do videos and stuff like that. So it's solid.
Yeah.
It's
I'd be
solid.
interested in checking that out. I might have to do that.
Right. So this has been the what was I right when I said the 18th episode earlier?
I think so. It's either 18th or 19th. I felt like last week was 17, right? I believe so, because the one before that was Sweet 16. I could be way off.
Sebastian is hilarious.
Right?
When
does he...
I'm sorry about...
When is he... do we know when he's coming back? He's going to be in France for a little bit, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's going to be gone for...
I kind of miss his sexy French accent on here. I'm not going to lie. Hello, Cody. That was terrible.
I miss him
too, terrible.
Man.
Terrible impression.
Oh, my phone's blowing up. Let's see. Sorry about that. Let's talk Jailbreak. I'm sure it is episode 18. Yeah, 17 was the last week. So, yeah, this is episode 18. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Cody, again, appreciate you hopping on.
Oh, thank you. Thanks again for having me. It's always a blast.
Yeah, it's been real fun, man. I had a good time this time. So
this time? Not last time?
Yeah, last time was just terrible. No, I feel better this week. So it's
yeah,
a lot
that's
better.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so you had any parting shots?
No, we talked about absolutely everything I wanted to cover.
Absolutely everything in the world that you'll ever want to talk about.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you have a good day, man, and we will talk to you guys later.
Okay, peace out.